Canto 2, Chapter 9, text number 26. Tatahi nathamanasya nathanathayya nathitam ravar paravare yatha rupe janiyante tvam arupinaha. Tathapi, in spite of that, nathamanasya, of the one who is asking for. Natha, O Lord. Nathaya, please avoid. Nathitam, as it is desired. Para avare, in the matter of mundane and transcendental. Yatha, as it is. Rupe, in the form. Janya, may it be known. Te, your. Tu, but. Arupinaha, one who is formless. In spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you. Kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all. See, these are the basic things that jivas should make. That Lord, if he is a transcendental, then how he take this mundane form? Yathatmaya yogena nana shaktyopabrandhitam vilupan visrajan granan vivar viprada atmanam atmana. And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, maintenance, by combination and prematuration. The whole manifestation is the Lord himself. By diffusion of his different energies only, namely the internal, external and marginal, just as the sunlight is the manifestation of energy of the sun planet, such an energy is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. Just as sunshine is simultaneously one with and different from the sun planet, the energies are acting by combination and prematuration by the indication of the Lord. And the acting agents like Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are also different incarnation of the Lord. In other words, there is nothing but the Lord, and still the Lord is different activities. How it is so will be explained later on. So now Brahmaji has become inquisitive to know about the of Lord's energy, then how he comes to this material world. That needs to be understood. Otherwise, we'll have not a strong faith in the Lord. And that's why he is making such an inquiry. You know, energies, how they manifest, what is their combination, how they act in this material world. Then further he asks, Kidrusya mogha sankalpaha purnabhir yatho rnute tathatad vishayam dehi pani sham mai madhava. O master of all energies, please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible. By the inconceivable energy of the Lord, every creative element has its own potency. The element, potency of the knowledge, potency of a different action and reaction. By a combination of such a potencies of the Lord, there is a manifestation of creation, maintenance, and annihilation in due course of a time, and by different agents like Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, and Lord Shiva destroys. But all such an agent and creative energies are emanation from the Lord. As such, there is nothing except the Lord or the Supreme Soul of different diversities. The exact example is the spider and the spider webs. The web is created by the spider and is maintained by the spider. As soon as the spider lights, the whole thing is wound up within the spider. The spider is covered with the web. If an insignificant spider is so powerful as to act according to its will, why can't the Supreme Being act by his supreme will in creation, maintenance, and destruction of the cosmic manifestation? By the grace of the Lord, a devotee like a Brahma or one in his chain of reciproc succession can understand the almighty personality of a Godhead, eternally engaged in his transcendental pastimes in the region of a different energies. So here, a nice example as given of a spider. An insignificant spider has his own independence to create his web, to maintain it. And when he doesn't like it, he just swallows it. If he has a free will, then what to speak of the Supreme Being, who is a Swarat? No one can control him. Brahmaji wanted it to know technically, and philosophically he wanted to understand all these different aspects of the Lord. His energies, his creative potency, his maintenance potency, and destruction potency. Then again he asked further, Bhagavasya chikishitam aham karvani hya anatrataha nehamanaha praja sargam badheyam yad anugraha. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of the Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. उनतीस हो गया, 26, 27, 28 हो गया, 29 चल रहा. Brahmaji does not want to become a speculator dependent on the strength of his personal knowledge and condition to material bondage. Brahmaji, by his own example, is showing us that one should not try to speculate about the Lord and try to understand him through our material knowledge. The best way is to either ask the representative of the Lord or directly Lord himself and get the proper knowledge rather than just beating around the bush. Everyone should know in clear consciousness that one is in the execution of all activities and instruments. A conditioned soul is instrumental in the hands of the external energy. Gunamayi Maya, or the illusory energy of the Lord. And in the liberated stage, the living entity instrumental to the will of the personality of a God, head directly. So either way, you have to become an instrument, either in the hands of Maya or either in the hands of the Lordship. So which is preferable? Why? Then why you said? Then why you said? Because that is the perfection. Kamam to dase nata kama kamya. That is the perfection of our life. If we become an instrument in the hands of the Lord, that's what we're supposed to be. Nimitta matra bhava sabyasachi. That's what Lord says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. After giving the whole knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Lord tells Arjuna, here I have given you the whole knowledge. If people says something else is the knowledge than what I have explained, then it's a foolishness. If you know this, yadnyatva, if you know this, then there is nothing to be known now. And then Lord says, be the instrument. And that's the perfection of our life. To be instrumental to the direct will of the Lord is the natural constitutional position of the living entity. Whereas to be an instrument in the hands of illusory energy of the Lord, material bondage for the living entity. That's why it said that Mayadas Sada Udas. Udas means he is what they say, dejected. Dejected. And what is another word for that? Udas. Morose. Because he gets bewildered and he loses his identity when he becomes the instrument of illusory energy. But then he becomes, or he can become instrument of the Lord when he is totally purified from all this contamination. In that conditioned state, the living entity speculates on the absolute truth and his different activities. But in the unconditioned stage, the living entity directly receives knowledge from the Lord, and such a liberated soul acts flawlessly without any speculative habit. That's more important. Tarko apratishtaha. Through logic or speculative mentality, you can't establish the absolute truth. That's not possible. In the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter, 10 and 11 shloka confirms emphatically that the pure devotee who are engaged in the loving service are directly advised by the Lord, so much so that the devotee unwaveringly makes progress on the path home back to Godhead. Pure devotees of the Lord are therefore not proud of their definite progress, whereas the non-devotee speculator is in the darkness of illusory energy and is very much proud of his misleading knowledge based on the speculation without any definite path. Lord Brahma wanted to be saved from the pitfall of a pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position within the universe. So here we can understand that the Mayavadis and impersonalist people about Lord and wants to try to understand about the Lord through their material intelligence, which is not possible to us. And that's why Brahmaji wanted to be saved that pitfall of a pride. Although he was posted in the post of in the most exalted position within the universe, but still he don't wanted to fall down that position. That's why he is directly making inquiries about the Lord from the Lord, so that he should not have any speculative tendency to know about their Lordship. Any question, any doubt?
My question is, how do I live that?
How?
Like, my question. So, that would be involved in the spiritual master.
Sorry?
That would be involved in the spiritual master to answer questions.
He is meant for that. तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ज्ञानिनस् तत्वदर्शिना. That's the role of Tattvadarshi. Tattvadarshi means spiritual master who has seen the truth. Only he can explain you about that. Spiritual master to represent the Lord and answer the questions that disciple or any conditioned soul has. That's why Krishnam Vande Jagadguru, it is said that if you don't have any master, ultimately Lord is there as a spiritual master. And scriptures that he has written, everything that gives the answer of your questions. So text number 30, where Brahma is praying, and he says, Yavat sakha sakher eveshate kritaha praja visarge vibhajami bhojanam avikalvaste parikramani sthito mame samuddatha mado ajo. O my Lord, the unborn, you have shaken hand with me just as a friend, does with a friend, as if equal in position. I shall be engaged in the creation of all types of living entities, and I shall be occupied in my service. I shall have no perturbation. But I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the Supreme. Yeah, this is nice actually. This must be our mood. And to fulfill that responsibility, we should pray as Brahma is praying. He says that I will engage myself in the service that you have allotted for me. But please, this should not give me rise of in my heart. Otherwise, everything be ruined. Lord Brahma is definitely situated in the humor of a friendship with the Lord. Every living being is eternally related with the Supreme Personality of a Godhead in one of 5 different transcendental humors. Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Apurya. We have already discussed the 5 kinds of humors in relationship with the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. It is clearly exhibited here in that Lord Brahma is related to the personality of a Godhead in the transcendental humor, friendship, which is a Sakya Bhava. A pure devotee may be related with the Lord in any one of the little humors, even in the humor of parenthood, but the devotee of the Lord is always transcendental servitor. No one is equal to or greater than the Lord. That is the version of Bhagavad Gita. Brahmaji, although eternally related with the Lord in the transcendental humor of a friendship, and although entrusted with the most exalted post of creating different grades of living entities, it's still conscious of his position that is either the Supreme Lord or supremely powerful. Lord, nor supremely powerful. It is possible that some extremely powerful personality within or without the universe may sometimes show more power than the Lord himself. Still, the pure devotee knows that this power is a vibhuti delegated by the Lord. And such a delegated, powerful living entity is never independent. Shri Hanumanji crossed the Indian Ocean by jumping over the sea. And Lord Shri Ramachandra engaged himself in marching over the bridge. But this does not mean that Hanumanji was more powerful than Lord Ram. Sometimes the Lord gives extraordinary power to his devotees. And the devotee knows always that the power belongs to the personality of a Godhead. That devotee is only an instrument. Here we have to understand that whatever capabilities we may have, or sometimes it may seem that they may be more in us than the Lord when you perform particular activity. It may be thought, it is not the possibility. But here they have given an example of Hanumanji. When Hanumanji wanted to go to Lanka, he just jumped from one shore and he reached the other shore. And when Lord Ramachandra wanted to go to Lanka, he has to pray ocean god to give the way. When he was not ready, then Lord became angry and wanted to kill him. Then he came, he asked forgiveness for his impudence. Then Nal and Nila, they constructed a bridge. And then Lord reached to Lanka. So here one may think that Lord Ramachandra is not as powerful as Hanumanji. Because Hanumanji just by jump, he reached Lanka. And Ramji has to construct a bridge to go there. But Lord is Lord. And he has to fulfill the desires of all living entities. So for that particular reason, Lord prepared that bridge. So one should not think that Hanuman is more powerful. Sometimes the Lord gives extraordinary power to his devotees, but the devotee knows always that power belongs to personality of a Godhead, that the devotee is only an instrument. Puffed up like a non-devotee class of men who falsely think that they are God. It is astonishing to see how a person who is being kicked by the laws of Lord's illusory energy at every step can falsely think of becoming one with the Lord. Again, Prabhupada crashing down here the misconception concept of Mayavadis. As they said, the Dandadharana Matrana Naronarayana Bhave. Just by accepting the sannyasa, one can become Narayana. But it's not like that. It is astonishing to see how a person who is being kicked by the laws of Lord's illusory energy at every stage can falsely think of becoming one with the Lord. Such a thinking is the last snare of the illusory energy offered to the conditioned soul. He wants to become the Lord of the material world by accumulating wealth and power. But when he is frustrated in that attempt, he wants to become a lord of the material world by accumulating wealth and power. But when he is frustrated in the attempt, he wants to be one with the Lord. So both become most powerful man in the material world and desiring to become one with the Lord are different illusory snares. And because the pure devotee of the Lord are surrendered soul, they are above the illusory snares. 2 मिनट रुक के दर्शन खुल जाएगा. 2 मिनट रुक के, it will be open. 8:05 हो गए, उसको बोले खोलिए, उसको बोले दर्शन खोलने के 8:05 हो गए, बंद होते बैठे. Because Lord, the different grades of living entities are not created by Brahmaji. So both, but when he frustrated that attempt, he wants to be one with the Lord. So both become the most powerful man in the material world and desiring to become one with the Lord are different illusory snares. And because the pure devotee of the Lord are surrendered souls, they are above the illusory snares of Maya. Clearly mentions that to become more powerful personality in the world or to become one with the Lord is the last snare of Maya. That's the last illusory step of Maya that she can hook you up. And devotees, because they are fully surrendered to Lord, so they never get illusioned by this particular level of Maya. And that's why they pray, oh my Lord, you have given me such a highest position in this material creation. But please, I pray at your lotus feet that this should not rise pride. If that pride comes, definitely it comes along with your fall down. So one has to be very careful of pride. And that's why Brahmaji is praying to the Lord. Because Lord Brahma is a pure devotee, even though the first deity in the material world, and therefore able to do many wonderful things, he would never like the non-devotee with a poor fund of knowledge. Have the audacity to think of becoming one with the Lord. People with a poor fund of knowledge should take lessons from Brahma when they are puffed up with the false notion of becoming God. See, that's the glory of devotional service. Because there is a clarity of our thoughts. There is a clarity of activities. Otherwise, if you just speculate and try to speculate as intelligence and try to understand the Lord, it will be very difficult. Factually, Lord Brahma does not create the living entities. In the beginning of creation, he is empowered to give different bodily shapes to the living entities according to work during the last millennium. So Brahma is not creating, that we have to understand. Brahma is acting as an engineer. Generally, the civil engineers, what he does, to construct a house or any bungalow or any building, architect has his own plans. Who plans it out? He makes the design and he gives all that details. To whom? To engineer. And he provides, an engineer, he collects the ingredients what are needed to build the building. He gets the joining, he gets wood, then everything that can assemble. So his job is to assemble the things. That does not mean that he is creating all that elements, but he is gathering them together and properly arranging them as per the function given by the architect. So he has a pre-information about what he has to do, how he has to do. Same way, Brahmaji also able to create different bodily shapes for the living entities according to their work during the last millennium. Brahmaji's duty is just to wake the living entities from the slumber and to engage them in the proper duty. The different grades of a living entities are not created by Brahmaji by his capricious whims, but he is entrusted with the task of giving the living entities different grades of a body so that they can work accordingly. And still he is conscious that he is only instrumental so that he may not think the supreme powerful Lord. Devotees of the Lord are engaged in the specific duty offered by the Lord, and such duties are successfully carried out without hindrance because they are ordained by the Lord. The credit of success goes not to the doer, but the Lord. But person with a poor fund of knowledge take the credit of success into their own accounts and give nothing to the credit of the Lord. That is the symptom of a non-devotee class of a. So devotee, they always think happening or he's doing good for the humanity or for himself. All these things are done by the Lord through him. So he considers himself as an instrument. That's the consciousness of a devotee. But non-devotee, whatever they do, they think themselves as a doer. And they take all credits of that activity for themselves. They never offered it to the Lord. But devotee, anything happens, what he says, if like Prabhuji, he does nice shringar to the deities. Huh? If someone comes and praise him, oh Prabhu, what beautifully you have dressed, Lord, you have such a nice art with you. Then what will be the generally answer from the devotee? He says, no, it's not my art. Actually, Lord desires and he guides me so that I can dress. Accepting that appreciation. Otherwise, someone says, oh, it's me who is dressing the Lord so nicely, and that's why Lord is looking beautiful. That is non-devotee mentality. So through the small dealings, you can understand whether you are progressing in spiritual life or not. Kind of a tendency that you are carrying along with. If you do something good and someone is praising you, that time you should take all the credits of that activities for yourself, then you are non-devotee. And still that non-devotee propensities may be very prominent in heart. But when someone glorifies you for the activities or things that you have done, and you say that it's Lord's mercy, because of him I was able to do this, and he gives that credits to the Lord, that's the mood of. And here, in the beginning of a creation, Brahmaji is explaining that what mood we should have if you want to stay in this world. If you don't have this mood, then you are going to get suffered, snared by the mind. So let's try to meditate on these things so that whatever we can do, we can think ourselves as an instrument. Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much.